Cell borders. Cell borders are these little lines which are around each cell in Excel. Now, cell borders are not the same as grid lines. These gray lines, which are in the background, which cover every single cell in our Excel worksheet, are called exactly that. They're called grid lines. Cell borders apply to each individual cell and stay that way no matter what I do. Let me show you. With these grid lines, I can turn them off like this. Remember, you go to View, Grid Lines, and uncheck this little mark right there. And as you can see, all the grid lines are gone. Now, what's the difference between a grid line and a cell border? Well, the cell border stays even if I turn off the grid line. For example, right there. See? Got a little line right there. That's a cell border. That's going to stay there no matter if I have the grid lines on or off. And in fact, I can put all borders like that and everything like this. And it's going to look a lot like a grid line, but these are actually borders. Now, the difference between grid lines and cell borders, which is also important to know, is that cell borders print and grid lines normally don't print. You see, if I have an Excel sheet like this and I go to the print screen, see right there on the preview, there's no grid lines. But cell borders do print. If I do this and I set the borders and then I go back to the print screen, here's the border that I placed. So if you want to print lines on your sheet, when it comes out of the printer, what you have to do is use cell borders and not grid lines. There's also an option that you can activate in Excel to print the grid lines, but that's really not useful. It makes more of a mess than what you get if you use regular cell borders. Okay, so how do we use these cell borders? Well, really easy. It's this little button here which says border. It's in the font menu of the home part of the ribbon, and you can also access it here on the font settings drop-down. Just access the drop-down and head over to this tab which says border, and right there you can configure the border. Now, using this configuration screen is a bit tricky. We'll see that in a couple of seconds. But to give you the easy version, you just select the cells you want, you bring this drop-down here down, and you select what kind of borders you have. Excel has several pre-configured borders. You have no borders, all borders, just the outside borders. So if I want to apply a bottom border here, I just click bottom and there's my border. Now if I wanted this thing, for example, to be kind of in a square, like I circled this row, do that, bring the drop down here and select outside borders. Outside borders is only the frame surrounding the area you have selected. There's no intermediate division lines. See? Just like that. Look at what happens if I select this range and click outside borders. See? I get a border on the outside. Now, this little line here, you're not seeing it because this is the print indicator and Excel puts that on top of the line, but it's still there. You see, if you go to the print preview, prints out that border. Now, if you want a grid here, what you have to do, select the range, and right here from the drop down, select all borders. Just like that. And now you have a grid there. Okay, so why would you want to use the font drop down to configure borders? Well, it's because you get a lot more options right there. You can actually put colors and patterns and whatever. You can access that right here, like we did before, font settings and then the borders tab, or you can go right here and select more borders, just like that. And we get this window here. Now, presets, you can easily use these to configure things real fast. For example, none clears the borders, outline gives you the outline of it, inside gives you a grid. Or you could press none, for example, if you wanted only a grid on the inside. Just press inside, like that. And to configure these individual lines, you just select the line style here, like that. Say you wanted a thicker border. You select here, and then you click on the area where you want to put it. See? this is one area where you can put those lines, and this cross is another area where you can put it. Now note, I've got a big range here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 8 division lines, but right here I only get 1 division line. This one represents all the internal lines, so whatever changes I make to this little center line are going to apply to all the center lines in the range that I have selected. So for example, let's say I pick this dotted line and change this one and change that one. And then I want the border to surround it to be a little bit thicker. So I select this one, and then I'm going to put a little bit of color on there, say red. And now I'm going to click this one. Click, 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 and click. And look at what happens. See? Got a red line all around, and internal lines are dotted and black. If I go back here, for example, do that, and then set none, the format gets cleared, and I'm back to where I was at the start. Now you can also format your borders directly from this drop-down. See, you got line color, line style, but that normally applies to all the borders at the same time. So if I hit all borders, and for example, if I change the line color to red, it's going to change all the lines in the range that I mark with this pencil. Now that's the disadvantage of working with this little drop-down tool here, that you get this little pencil, and you have to touch every single border that you want to change. That's really time consuming, especially if you have a large worksheet. It's a whole lot easier to come down here, go to the font, borders drop down, and simply do this, set your center lines to green, and you get every single center line in green. So that's how cell borders work in Excel. Remember, this is a grid line. All these gray lines are grid lines. They disappear when you're going to print. And all these solid and color lines, those are cell borders. And cell borders stay on your worksheet when you print. Thanks for watching this video tutorial. If you liked the video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and to visit our website, cubicleoverlords.com, for more instructional videos like this one.